I'll send you the link to 10 scoops.
That's a lot of scoops, man.
Hey, he's about it, dude. He's about it.
Holy cow.
If you were to see my...
You are tuned into the Creative Process Podcast, the very first episode of the Creative Process Podcast. We're here to introduce ourselves in this episode. My name is Gabriel Smith.
And I'm Kenny Flores. We're both aspiring musicians producing our own music and starting a podcast about our love for music and what inspires us to create.
So every episode will have its own topic. Me and Kenny will run you through like a summary of whatever topic we're discussing. Or in the case of we have a guest on the show, we'll do a quick summary of who they are and what we discussed during the episode. So if you have any questions, hit us up on our social media links and any sort of like shout outs and stuff that we mentioned during the episode. Those links will be in the show description as well.
And without further ado, here's the episode. Old buddies of mine hit me up. They're like, dude, we're tracking a song. You should come out and do some vocals. And so I dropped by, and one of my friends, he's like one of those gym guys. So he goes to the gym a lot, and he like lifts, and he like, you know, just the whole deal. I mean, I'm not super into that culture, so I don't know too much about it. But he would consider himself a lifter, and I know I'm almost certain he's lifted like 300 or over. So he's like a pretty big dude. He's like super buff, and they wrote like this like beat down kind of old tech death beat down type New York hardcore song about lifting. So my buddy, he just got back into he's the guy that was in that band Lift the Veil I told you about, the melodic hardcore band from when I was younger. He's back into audio recording, and he's like, dude, about like converting my garage into like a studio and maybe renting it out to people. I was like, dude, that would be sick. And anyways, I got there, and I tracked the song. We literally, it was so quick. Like, it took me an hour to track the vocals. He wrote the lyrics, and like, I wasn't 100% on the takes, but he was like, no, dude, it sounds good. It sounds good. Let's go. And the song was done in an hour. I was like, okay. So it was kind of nice because I wasn't there kind of self-critiquing. It was just like, all right, if he says it's good, I mean, I guess it's good. You know, it's his song, not mine.
Mm-hmm. So what's like the setup there then? Is it like, does he have like a separate room,
dude,
for you, or what?
No, it was kind of terrible, actually. I hope he doesn't hear this, but so we were in his living room. His living room has tile. I brought some 7B, and so it was nice to have like my own mic and stuff like that. I brought the cloud lifter and everything, and I also brought my bass because
which bass? Is it the P bass?
No, the SDGR, the Ibanez.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was in drop A, like the song's in drop A, so it was pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
And because they needed bass, and they tracked bass first, and then they're like, all right, let's do vocals. And he just wrote some lyrics real quick about lifters and and persevering and stuff like that, and staying focused. And I just, we tracked it like in an hour, and the song's already up. It has 500 views already. Over 100 likes, because he's got a big following on Instagram and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got kind of like a cult following, and he's kind of like a meme lord type of guy. So he recorded the guitars. He recorded all the instrumentals with my other friend Tommy. But the setup was just, it was funny. It was recorded on FL Studio also, which was pretty funny. But he has an Apollo twin, and it's super nice. Like, all the free plugins you get with it, like all the UAD stuff. It was pretty cool seeing him. And dude, he's really efficient when it comes to working. Like I just saw him like mixing and stuff, and he was just quick, and I was like, wow. But the song kind of sounds trashy, but that's like the sound they wanted to go for. Like kind of like that 90s New York trashy hardcore sound, like kind of basement garage recording type thing. But I mean, it was mixed pretty well to sound like that. And yeah, I was relatively impressed with the outcome. I mean, it kind of shows, like when I was tracking, like I could hear the reverb and the reflections and stuff on playback. I could hear it, and it was just like it bothered me. But dude, with some EQ, he just notched that stuff out, man. You can't even hear it. I was like, wow. Yeah, I was pretty impressed, and it was interesting because like I have seen him track bands and track projects since I was 19 years old, and I'm 31 now. Wow. Yeah. So he's been doing it for a long time, but I never really understood what was going on. Like I would see him mess around and I'd be like, oh, I wonder what that stuff is. Like I remember I would always like watch him, but I had no idea what was going on, and it was kind of like one of those oddly satisfying things to watch, you know what I'm saying? Like just watching someone mix and mess with stuff. And I'll send you the link to 10 scoops.
That's a lot of scoops, man.
Hey, he's about it, dude. He's about it.
Holy cow.
If you were to see my friend, his name's Phil. If you were to see him, dude, he is huge. He's a huge guy. So yeah, got my bros, Thomas Quintanilla and Philip Bolin. Check out Dark Iron Gains on Instagram and YouTube.
All right. So you think you want to go into like? Do you think?
Yeah. Let's do some talking. I know I've been kind of blabbering.
No, it's all good. It's good to start that way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, Kenny, so tell us about yourself. Like, what was your earliest encounter with like just music and like just early inspiration that just got you into music, like your first albums or that really impacted you, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Man. Yeah. It's funny. I don't actually think about that too often, but when I do, yeah, it takes me to an interesting place. First time I think I ever really got interested in music, I was pretty young. I wanted to play drums. I was in a church with my family, and I saw the drummer just playing, and I was like, dude, I want to do that. Like that looks cool. Like whatever he's doing, no concept of what the purpose of drums are in music. I just knew it sounded cool and it looked cool, and I was like, I want to do that. So I had a few like minor lessons here and there growing up. Yeah, I'm when I was younger, before I was even a teen, I was playing drums. My parents bought me a drum set for Christmas one year. It was kind of like a junior set. And so, yeah, I played on that in the shed for about a year and then got over it. I would say in my teenage years, I started listening to kind of like I don't know if you were familiar with the Fuse era of music.
I'm not too familiar with that.
No. Yeah. It was kind of like a MTV2, but it was in the early 2000s. And they used to play, all Under Oath was on there, Census Fail, bands like that, like kind of screamo, emo, indie rock type stuff. So it was just music videos all around the clock. And MTV wasn't really doing that anymore, so they kind of took their place around that era. Yeah, so that I actually kind of remember what it was that made me want to join a band, and that was I was watching the music video for "Smile in Your Sleep" by Silverstein, and I watched the drummer, and I was just like, dude, I want to do that. So there it was again, something just impacted me about, just seeing a drummer behind a kit. And by no means am I a drummer now, but it just so happened to be like that. And just seeing the band as a whole and the music video, I was just very impacted by it. I was like, dude, that's what I want to do. And ever since then I've been in bands. So that was like early 2000s. And played guitar on and off, and that was in my teen years, so 16, 17. I'm 31 today, still trying to do music, playing guitar, kind of doing it all myself now, but it took a long time to get there. And yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, I could go into more detail, but this would probably turn into like a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
But
so what bands were you involved in?
I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, maybe some more well known in the local kind of Houston scene in the mid to late 2000s. So I think I should say this. I went from being a drummer to being a vocalist. I did play after the whole, Fuse era thing I was talking about. I did play drums in a band for a little while. That didn't work out. Tried some other bands as a drummer, and it wasn't working out. And I really got into screaming, which is kind of where I am now. I'm a vocalist mainly. And so I started getting into screaming. And the first band I was in locally was semi well known locally. It was a band called A Widow's Offering. I think I sent you their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that
was
was
that deathcore?
It was like, yeah, it was kind of deathcore-ish. It was like we were trying to be like the Devil Wears Prada meets Bring Me the Horizon, pretty much. That's kind of what we were going for. And but that was like old TDWP and old BMTH. So yeah, if anyone tries to go listen to that, proceed with caution. But yeah, so I did that band for a while. I quit, and shortly after I quit, they ended up going on tour, which I regretted immediately. And they got someone to replace me, and I was pretty bummed out about that. We actually had a big falling out a few years down the line as well, because I kind of rejoined and left again, and the falling out was pretty big. But anyways, that's besides the point. The next band after that was another kind of well-known band in the area called Lift the Veil, which I was talking about previously. That project was very unique. Kind of no one locally was really doing what we were doing. We were doing the whole For the Fallen Dreams melodic hardcore thing with the stage presence of a For Today, very preachy on stage and praying with people after the show and doing all that. Just really trying to, I guess, be a ministry in a sense. So had some very interesting encounters and stories from that time. And shortly after that, that probably lasted about a year as well. Kind of quit and was in bands here and there within the time span of, I guess, 2007, 2008 to 2000. let's say, I want to say 2010, 2011. I had been in probably over 10 bands. So I'm leaving a lot of the ones that weren't really known or that never amounted to anything out. But the last band I was in that made a local impact, I would say, would be Glass Realms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My fate.
Yeah, I know you're into that. That was kind of interesting how that came about. I had left a band. Actually, no, Glass Realms was actually 2013. So scratch what I said before. So Glass Realms was actually a previous project I was in, and I left. They replaced me with another vocalist. That vocalist left before they started recording an EP and got really serious. A good friend of mine, Robbie Joyner, Black Book Sound, shout out to Robbie Joyner. He hit me up and was just like, "Hey, I've got a band here. You might know them. I think you used to jam with them. And we need vocals on this record." I was like, yeah. I was honestly at that point in time in my life, I wasn't doing anything musically besides maybe playing an acoustic guitar in my room. That was about it. So I wasn't in a band or anything. And I jumped at the opportunity. And that was quite an experience. We played a few shows, released the EP once it was done being recorded, did pretty well online. We had the vocalist from the Great Commission feature on one of the songs, so that was some good exposure there as well. You know, their fans kind of came to check out what we were doing. Also, Robbie Joyner was one of the songwriters for the Great Commission, so he wrote a lot of their stuff. And he played guitar with them on occasion. So yeah, just like every other band, shortly after that, I would say about a year later, I ended up leaving. I was just kind of, it was for, I guess, spiritual reasons, if you will. And I won't get too deep into that, but we ended up parting ways, and I think they played one last show with the old vocalist. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah. So sorry, I know I kind of went a little long-winded on that one.
No, it's all good. They're a sick band. I love that album. Anybody who's listening, check out Glass Realms. Especially the Calm. That's like my favorite track. Love it.
Yeah. The name of the EP is called Reflections. So in case you need that extra word to search it up.
So Glass Realms was like the last band you're in, and then what do you recently what are you working on currently now?
Well, currently, you and I are actually working on a project called Ionia, and it's slow moving, mostly due to me, but I think the music's going to be great. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. We're reaching that year mark, so fingers crossed. Interestingly enough, we've kind of struck a friendship, through the process of being in a band, even though we're in different states. And that's kind of allowed us to do this podcast and just talking to each other and seeing that we have a lot in common and we're kind of into the same things. So yeah, Ionia, that's one of the projects you and I are working on. And then between Glass Realms and Ionia, I did do a solo project, which I'm still kind of working on, and did release a single for that, which is up on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music and all that, called God in America. And that's seen a lot of different stages. It was a solo project. Then I kind of wanted to make a band out of it. That collapsed, and now it's back to a solo project. And the past year, I've kind of been trying, or at least attempting, to learn the ins and outs of producing your own music. And it's been a great journey. And also sharing that with you is kind of what sparked the idea for this podcast. So yeah, that's where I find myself at today. So Gabe, what got you into music and who inspired you?
I was like around 8 or something like that. I got like I'd always listen to like music before. My dad had like whenever I'd go on drives with him, he'd have like a bunch of cassettes, you know. Really, when first music that really took hold was like early like 80s, 90s Christian rock, you know, like Petra and this too. Well, I guess they weren't. Well, they were kind of Christian at some point. I'm trying to remember there, but yeah, just bands like that, especially like 90s Christian rock was so dope. Like Jars of Clay. Yeah, I just really dug that stuff. Just what my dad had. So that's where like the love of music and stuff came. But then when I got my first like CD player, it was like a Walkman CD player, you know. Yeah, my first CD he gave me was like, I think it was like Jars of Clay, Much Afraid. That album was like the first album that I would just listen to like start to finish and just absolutely fell in love with it. And yeah, just kind of went from there, and then like started listening to like heavier stuff, I guess, like Grandma Train, and just yeah, it just was mainly like rock and like stuff that I would hear on the local station. And yeah, and in terms of like musicianship, it started just I would just sing in church and stuff. I would just do like hymn or like some sort of like tracks. I would go upstage. So I guess it started there, and then yeah, just like listen to stuff on the radio station. I would get into like Skillet and stuff like that, you know, just because I came from a pretty conservative family, and only Christian stuff was allowed, you know.
Right.
So, but those bands are sick.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in that as well, a little bit. Maybe not as strict, but
yeah, I don't think it was a bad thing though. I got to just keep discovering Christian bands, and like back when Family Christian Bookstore was a thing, you know, I'd go in there and like I had like some spending money. I would like go in and just buy a CD that would look cool, but you know, there's no questions asked. It's like, oh, all this stuff's Christian. You know, my parents didn't have a problem, so I'd just go browse through that section, you know, and buy like red CDs or yeah, they're just sick. And yeah, and I guess like in terms of like musicianship, just singing in church, and then like just band, high school band, middle school band, learning like trombone, learning like basic, you know, scales and notation, how that stuff all works.
Okay.
And when I started getting like heavier music, when I was like 13 or 14, I was like my friend Josiah, he did the solo on our first Ionia single. Yeah, he told me about this band For Today. I was like, I think he showed me on like his iPod, or he had like iPod Touch or something. I'm like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. And then I ended up searching it later at like a public library, and I just had these like headphones on, and I think it was Seraphim by For Today, and like the bass drop just like broke me, just broke my ears. Whoa, I'd never heard anything like this before. And then it just took off from there, like metalcore and everything. So I just couldn't get enough of it all the way through high school. So
right,
and that's pretty much what I was influenced. You know, I'm most impressionable during that time. So like metalcore was the thing. So yeah.
No, For Today definitely made a impression on me as well. Hence the whole Lift the Veil thing. You know, I actually befriended one of the earlier guitarists in the band. I think he left after their third release. So Breaker, I think, was the last release he was on.
Agape, Portraits, and then Breaker, right? Those are the three.
No, the first one was called Ecclesia.
Sorry, that's one of the songs. Like,
No, hey, Agape is a great song. That's the song that got me into them. I remember just kind of searching MySpace at the time and came across them, and I was hooked. And then seeing them live at a coffee shop, actually, which was like a coffee shop / venue, and then talking to them afterwards, and Mike, you know, just kind of taking the time out to talk to me and preach the gospel to me and minister to me and stuff like that. that made quite the impression on me, and I became a fan. Probably up until Portraits. After Portraits, I kind of lost track, and that's a whole nother story as to what happened there. But yeah, we kind of lost touch throughout the years, but yeah, great band. But yeah, I actually have a few more questions for you. So yeah, what are some of the projects you've been a part of since that time? And what kind of projects are you into currently?
Yeah, starting out like in high school, I think there's like one or two maybe like little groups that started and then they died out pretty quick. Wasn't like serious at all. It was just kind of fun just to get started on that. And then just in high school, and then like between that and like towards the end of college, I wasn't really involved with anything. It was just me just learning guitar and stuff, and starting to learn, dabbling in a little bit of recording and what a DAW is, you know, and just proving my skills with like covers and stuff.
Yeah. So would you say so you weren't even in a band until college? Like you weren't in your first band until college?
No, I hadn't really performed anything. Just in church, you know, just like doing some special songs and stuff, but nothing serious.
Sure.
Yeah, just the covers help so much. Like just putting them up on YouTube, and that's what have gotten me into bands. Like the first one that, and I would just put it on my Facebook too, and I would just friend people in local bands here. And one that was really cool, that was like, I think the first legit one was Mandela, and I was in there for I think like a year or something, but that was really fun. But not really together now. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's a really cool band. And if you can, check it out. Mandela, Mandayla. They got an album called Rise. It's super sick. But I'm just really grateful to be a part of it because like that was like my first, like, you know, playing live and just playing in front of other people and just standing up and playing. I'd never stood up to play. I was always sitting down before that playing guitar. So I had to learn how to do that. But yeah, that was really challenging, and like memorizing those songs, like really memorizing, because you can like, you know, you do covers and stuff and then you just kind of just forget about it for a while. Like you learn it and then you're done. But like with the band, you know, you have to learn the whole album and just memorize it. And that was really good, and my picking and all that good stuff. So that was a cool experience and really cool guys. And yeah, just got to learn how like dynamics work within a band and stuff like that. And just how like conversation is really important too, you know. Yeah. And then I think after that, after a little while, I just started like wanting to do my own thing. And then I had started writing demos and stuff. Didn't really think anything would come of it. And then like, I think it came up the Ionia in 2018 or 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Figured I'd do my own thing and then see if I can get people involved. But at the beginning, it was just me.
Yeah.
And then not too long after you joined. So that's dope. And then this past year, I got into a band called Steady Decline. And that was a cool group of guys. Again, I don't know if it'll turn into anything. We haven't talked in a little while, but hoping we can get back together, maybe put out some more music. But that was cool too, just getting to jam. So, yeah.
Even when projects don't pan out, the experience is just, you can't put a price on it, you know? For example, yesterday, I know we're not going to be a band. You know, the one single that we did, but it was a good experience. Like I was there with fellow musicians and another, you know, fellow, I guess, home studio engineer, and yeah, it was a great experience, and again, it's something you can't really put a price tag on. That's how you grow as a musician and as a creative, is through experiences like that. So even when you leave, let's say on a bad note, it's not 100% a bad note, because you gained something from it. And I think that's always a good takeaway. but yeah, do you want to I don't know if right now would be a good time to take a quick break and maybe resume here in a sec?
Yeah, sure, let's do that. All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to get into like the second part of our podcast where we talk more about like more in depth about like music and like writing and stuff. So first I'm going to interview Kenny. So, So what would you say your creative process is like? How do you get in the mood, get in the zone? Like what, like your process for setting up and then recording an idea or?
Right. Man, it a lot like me. When it comes to doing creative stuff, I feel like this is my personality all around. Is it just kind of comes to me? I'm kind of random. And sometimes I feel as if songs kind of fall in my lap. At least when I'm working on, I would say solo stuff. I would say when it comes to more of a collaborative effort, that's kind of when I kind of tend to get into my head and try to be a little more analytical and I guess logical, if you will, about things. But yeah, the creative process, the way that works for me is, it just happens. Sometimes I could even not be in the mood, but I just pick up my guitar and something just happens to come out on a specific day at a specific time. And, I end up writing something. So that's
okay. So it's not like you set up a session or whatever, like a set time of day. You're just kind of like you're driving or something, or you're on like an event happened and that's what inspired you. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I would. I would say that's definitely a good way to look at it. There's been times in my life where, you have something happen. Life happens, and that kind of inspires you to write something. You have an emotion that you really need an outlet for, and so sometimes it can come out that way. Maybe I've never really taken note of that, but the way you just described it, I can definitely affiliate with that.
So when you get that inspiration and idea, like how do you like jot that down or record it, or is it like on your phone or
well, it's been different as of lately. I know before I got into recording, I would just sit in front of an amp and just let it rip. Just whatever came out, and then I would form a song and memorize it. Sometimes I would record it on my phone. It's very rare when I do voice memos, but I'm trying to get a little better about that. Because I know I've written things that have just left me, and it's like that idea is gone. you kind of don't get that back, unfortunately. And I've learned that the hard way several times, where it's like, man, I know I had this great idea, and it's just I never documented it, and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that could probably be an interesting topic for a podcast, I think. Yeah, pretty much stay proactive when it comes to ideas, because they just leave you if you don't document it.
Yeah, I'll have to say that for later. That could be a whole podcast topic.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, I would
topic.
love to talk about that. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say now what I do is, I sold all my pretty much analog gear, which would consist of, amp, cab, pedals, things like that. I sold all that, and now I'm entirely in the box. So if I am writing, or if I'm playing guitar, just to mess around or see if anything comes out, or for whatever reason, it's all already in the computer. So if inspiration, spikes at that point, it's my DAW is right there, ready to I guess document whatever idea or spark of inspiration I'm having at that point in time. So
how do you approach structuring your songs? Like, do you usually start with an intro, or is it like maybe like a melody? So you start with like a chorus or a bridge or whatever. Like, how do you like figure out to branch off from that idea or whatever?
Yeah. I honestly kind of don't think about it too much. Well, I can't say that, because I think there's obviously thought that goes into it. But a lot of times I feel like the song kind of writes itself. Like, you just intuitively know, okay, this is the chorus. Okay, this is the bridge. Once you have the parts written out, of course. It's almost like an intuitive thing, at least for me. It just happens. And the parts kind of speak to you. I feel like, at least for me, they kind of tell you what they are. And yeah, that's kind of how I navigate that.
So what tools do you use to create? We're gonna go in kind of like a gear nerd mode here, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. My favorite topic, I guess. So I use Reaper as far as DAWs are concerned. And the main reason I use it is because it's free. I did use Pro Tools first for a while, and by free, I should mention that technically it's not free. You are supposed to pay for a license after a 60-day trial, but they don't necessarily hold you to that. So you can pretty much infinitely use it as a free trial with 0 limitations. So that's why I've kind of stuck around with it. It's kind of a pain in the butt to learn, because there's so much you can do on it. It's very customizable. But yeah, I don't see myself really switching to another DAW. I flirted with the idea of Pro Tools just because of it being the industry standard. And when I did start recording, I was using Pro Tools first, and that was just very limiting. So that became a problem really quick, and yeah, went over to Reaper and continue using it today. So
Reaper gang.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, where are you at with Reaper, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, still noob. I'm still trying to work on programming like getting used to the flow of programming MIDI. It's just a little bit different than Mixcraft.
Right.
The idea is definitely the same. I think it's the same across all DAWs. Like you have the grid and stuff, just different hotkeys and stuff that you use. But other than that, I'm getting along pretty well. Like using automation and the thing I just got to work on is memorizing hotkeys so I can move faster. That's the only thing.
Right. I'm terrible with that. Yeah, I'm pretty bad at that.
But what else? Like what other gear? Like your favorite guitar that you
sure
get inspired on?
Yeah. So I have a Fender custom Telecaster. It's dual humbuckers, but I keep it on the split coil bridge because I just love the way it sounds. I just love the clankiness that it kind of brings.
Oh yes.
And it's a very special guitar. Reason being is I actually bought it the day that my daughter was born. So yeah. I remember being in the hospital and buying the guitar off Reverb. It was just a kind of a random weird thing that happened. And I think I bought it probably a few hours before she was born. But it was on the same day. But it was early morning for sure. So yeah, that guitar definitely has a lot of sentimental value. I have noticed that same guitar in one of my favorite bands, Lift the Veil. It Prevails. If you look at some of their older music videos, one of their older guitarists actually had the same guitar, which I found kind of interesting and didn't notice it.
Is that the An Anomaly music video?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, I knew
no. Well, hold on. It might. I'll have to check that. I could be wrong. No, it's I think it's Caged with Gold Bars.
Okay.
That
sucks so much.
Yeah, it was on the I think it was on the Stroma record, which is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a baritone Michael Kelly Patriot. It's a 27-inch scale, and that one kind of stays in either B standard or drop A. And I actually had a coil split built into it a few years after I got it, because I love the sound so much and I want that to be part of my tone. So it doesn't come.
It was like permanently split coil?
No. I have a switch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So but I had that installed after the fact. My wife actually got it for me on an anniversary. So
that's sick.
Yeah. So that's another guitar that will probably stick around for a while. So yeah, those are kind of my two main guitars, and pretty much the two only guitars I have. I do have an acoustic that's currently out of service, but maybe in the near future I'll get it fixed up and have that one kicking around again. And then I have a bass that was actually lent to me by my brother-in-law's ex-girlfriend. Or actually his ex-girlfriend's brother's bass. So I used it to record Light, which is the God in America single. And she never asked for it back, even after they broke up. If she does ask for it back, I will gladly give it back to her. No hesitations. I may try to buy it off her if she does ever ask for it back, but she hasn't asked for it, so I've kind of stuck with it. And yeah, so it's been with me for a few years.
Okay. Is that like your main one, you think?
My bass?
Yeah. Or, oh wait. Oh, you just have the one bass then?
Yeah, I just have the one bass. I don't have. I had two. I wish I had two. Because I would love to have one in A and have another one in standard, which my Telecaster is in. So yeah, that would be ideal. But no. I've had kind of a hard time recording bass for Fantasize, which is one of the singles that Gabe's aware of that I've been working on.
So good.
Yeah, it's been kind of tricky to record bass for that. I'm getting there, but it's been a pain, to say the least.
Well, what tuning is that one in again?
Fantasize?
Yeah. Wasn't it like super low? Is that why it's hard?
Yeah, it's an A. So that bass was set up for standard tuning. So dropping it down half an octave or so, the strings are just flop city. And they do not like it. Kind of really hard to get a good sound out of it, but I'm working on it. One thing I do want to plug is Parallax bass. I've been using that. I did the trial. I just bought it, and it's amazing, and I love it. So, since we're on the topic of bass, Neural DSP, check them out.
I gotta try it. It's they have a free trial then for it. How long is that?
14 days, 2 weeks. I love it, dude. They had the other one. I was thinking about trying it, the Dark Glass, and yeah, I might give that one a try in the future. But for now, I'm pretty happy with Parallax. It definitely gives me the bass tone I want, all in one plugin. I may do some extra EQing and compression outside of the plugin, but I know when I was trying to get the tone myself, I had like 5 plugins on my 5 to 6, or maybe even 7 plugins on my bass chain, and it was just starting to get a little ridiculous. So now it's nice to have like 3, and that's it. So
okay,
but yeah, I think now's a good time for me to ask you, what's your creative process like, and how do you set the mood to get into that creative space?
Yeah, it's kind of like what you were saying before. Just, I mean, I do have set times like during the week where I just sit down and write, and those are very structured, and I go into my template and start writing stuff. But I feel like the best songs or the best demos I've written are the ones that just kind of where I had a melody just that came to me in the middle of the day, or I was driving or something happened, and I'm like, oh, quick, gotta hum. I use my voice memo, and I hum that melody or whatever into my phone, and then I go into the DAW and start. And then it's like, those are the best songs when they just write themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like you'll finish a section, and then I'll write the drums, write the bass, and then I'll be like, oh wait, it just keeps flowing, and then you have like 4-minute song. Well, I usually like to just get an intro, a verse, and a chorus done, and that's usually like I can figure out the rest of the song from there, because like it does take a while. So like, if I stick to it too long, I might get burned out. But once I get like an intro, verse, and chorus like fully fleshed out, well, not fully, but just like there's drums, there's bass, there's a lead, there's rhythms, and then and then I can like save it for later and then come back to it, and I'm like, okay, the idea is still there. So yeah, but a big inspiration, of course, is just bands, just listening to tons of them. I think my main library is like 5,000, 6,000 songs of just,
my gosh,
yeah, just tons of different. Yeah, I don't even count it. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Spotify, like the app on my phone, it might be the same for everybody. I feel like it's buggy for a lot of people. I've had friends and stuff they ask, but like I think it's just because like my main library, it's like 5,000, 6,000 songs. I have it downloaded in high quality on my SD card. So, but I just gotta have that high quality, you know. But
dude.
Yeah, I just put that on shuffle all the time, and like, I just get inspired by that playlist, or I have a set more scaled down playlist, like just a couple hundred of like my top ones that are just like essential. And that's really where my structure and stuff comes from, is just listening to them over and over again. And then when I write my own stuff, I can compare to those songs, be like, okay, so this is kind of a chorus like that song, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing with mixes too, like just referencing my favorite songs, be like, okay, this mix kind of sounds like theirs a little bit. So
yeah. Your mixes, man, I'll be honest, I'm a very big fan of, especially even the newer ones that no one's heard. I definitely see a progression, and
thanks, man.
Yeah, they're getting there, man. They're I've heard some pretty crappy mixes from bands that kind of do it themselves, and what you're doing is definitely not in that tier. It's definitely a top tier type of thing. So what are some tools that you use to get that sound to I would say the mixes I've heard from you are very polished, well edited, in this day and age, it's not very hard to sound like you went to a professional studio if you know what you're doing. But I mean, you're doing everything in the box as far as I'm aware. What are some of the tools that you use to help achieve that?
So I guess I'll just kind of give a little brief history. Like I first started in Audacity. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Like it's like that free audio recording.
Yeah, in fact, I may have used it with some buddies like when I was a teenager, kind of younger into my music career, if you will. So yeah, I'm relatively familiar with it, but it was definitely an older version.
Yeah, it was so bad. Like, but that's where it started. Like, just
right.
Just recording one track and just crap. It had like this little mini zoom pedal, and it sounded so bad. Just going right, just mono everything, and just in those first very stuff I started writing, there's no drums, it's just guitar and just very bad vocals. And just not knowing how to just learning just to record and stop recording was those are the basics that I learned in there. And so that was cool. And then after a while, I was a big fan of Reflections, and I heard Charles their guitar player talking about Mixcraft. And I was like, well, if he uses it, I can use that. And I was like, that's super dope. And the album Fantasy Effect was mixed on Mixcraft 6 or 7 or something like that. And I just, now it might seem to people like a bad mix, but I just thought that was the best mix ever. I don't know. It just sounded so nasty. So I was like, I can do this on Mixcraft then. Yeah. So I got into Mixcraft, the home studio version. And so I just got the basics of just setting up multiple lanes and stuff like that, and just learning automation and stuff. And then I got Pro Studio, which had all the good plugins and stuff. So that's where it started to get pretty good for me. But just a little brief progression, I guess, that I'm trying to go over. But
right.
Yeah, my main tools for writing would be definitely Guitar Pro. I love Guitar Pro. Right.
So do you because we have kind of talked about this outside of the podcast, and this is great. I'm glad we're touching on this because you write in a way that's very I mean, I don't hear about a lot of people writing like this. I could be in the woods about it, but I think you don't typically write with a guitar in your hands. Is that right, or am I off on that?
No, you're right. You're right. Well, so it just depends. Sometimes I will have a guitar And sometimes I just don't feel like it. I'll just be like, just all huddled up and just like, all right, I'm just going to chill here and just write just with what's on my mind and then just program everything. So,
right.
But
so you start in Guitar Pro?
I start writing in the DAW and, well, first I would like just record guitars and stuff, but like it would always be such a hassle and take so long and like, just to get a tight take and double tracking it and all that stuff. And I tried doing stuff like copying it and setting it a millisecond after, but it just gave this weird phase effect. And I was just looking for something to like, I just want a good studio, like almost premix sound that I'm writing, or at least a demo that sounds like really good premix. And then I heard about Odin. I think it was like from Fluff's channel.
There we go.
And I was like, that is so cool. And like it just like doing palm mutes and everything and just programming with velocities makes it so quick. And
can you kind of explain, in case there's people listening, what Odin is and what it does and what a powerful tool it can be for writing?
It's a plugin. It's a virtual instrument. So it's like a VSTI, and you can get it from Solemn Tones, and you load it up into your DAW, and then you use your MIDI keyboard or MIDI like grid or whatever, and you just set your velocities to what you want each note to be, whether it's a 16th note, 8th note, your notation, and then you do different velocities, do different sounds like a palm mute, and a down pick note, a alternate pick note, or a harmonic, or so on and so forth. There's so many articulations, but they have like a simple mode, and that's what I use most of the time if I want to do like just getting through a song, just trying to get that inspiration quickly. Yeah. And that's why it's so useful, because you can copy and paste or different sections of MIDI. You can humanize them instantly, or put them in different tracks, and they're all going to be different like sounding guitars because they're all automatically like round robin humanized and all that stuff. So it's super dope in that sense. Like it's just quick. And so
it's essentially kind of like Easy Drummer, but for guitar in a sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And it sounds super dope. And like you can get as a nice clean DI, and you can ramp it through anything you want, any of your amps or whatever you've got. And yeah, it's got a great rhythm and lead is included in it. And it has guitar 1, guitar 2, so you can do different stuff without having like phase issues, and they have like panned leads too, all built into it. And it's just, once I switched over to that, then I could just start making tons of demos, but not have to learn the songs right away if I'm not feeling like they're just sounding good. Like I can get to that studio sound, listen to the song in its entirety with like, I use Easy Drummer, I use Panda Bass for my bass, and all my demos are all MIDI, and sometimes I will like record a lead or something with my guitar, but most of the time it's all MIDI and programmed.
And you can't tell the difference. I'm speaking from experience here. Maybe my ears aren't very good, but there's been times when I've gotten demos from Gabe and it's just been like, wait, is this real guitar or is this Odin? Like, I need to know. So yeah, that I always found that when you told me about that several months back, I found that very interesting. That's how you approached writing a song a lot of the time. And in all honesty, I can't see myself doing that because that's not how my brain works. But I for people who are wired the way you are, I think it's genius. It's just, and I get it. Like I understand why you would want to use it that way. That it makes sense. I just don't feel like programming MIDI. I hate MIDI drums.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just takes a long time.
Yeah. I would rather just play it on guitar personally, but there's nothing wrong with you doing it the way that you do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, go. Sorry to cut you off. Continue. Any other creative tools that you use to get the creative juices flowing?
Oh, and also for clean guitars, I use Labs Peel Guitar. That one's really cool for cleans. So again, all programmed. So those are super dope. And
You have any? How many guitars do you have? Let's talk about that.
Oh, right now just 3.
Oh, just 3? Okay.
Yeah, I sold a couple. I sold the headless, and I sold the my baritone agile. Just wasn't using them that much.
Okay. What would you say your main squeeze is?
It's my Schecter C1 Platinum.
Okay.
Yeah. Good old Schecter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great guitar for the price. I think I got it from like Guitar Center used for like $250 or something like that, which is crazy. Like,
whoa.
It's got EMGs, it's got what is the bridge? Tune-o-matic bridge, Rotomatic locking tuners, ebony fingerboard, and just a solid sounding guitar. It's pretty much like the Hellraisers. Those were popular a lot in studios, especially like 2008 beyond. Like, I don't know, I've just seen the Hellraiser a lot in music videos and stuff. It's just a common good guitar, so it's kind of like that, I would say. And I just like the vibe of it. Like, it's just gray, and I just like the feel of it. It's the best feel, and I'm just used to it, I think, too. So yeah. But yeah, that's definitely my main one. And I got a 7-string. It's Iron Label. I can't see the number. I can never say. I know that's like a constant joke. Like, everybody always says like it's RG. I can't remember the number, but whatever. I will leave the link in the description. But yeah, that it is true. I don't remember the number or license serial number of it. So.
And what do you have that one tuned to?
Right now it's drop A. Yeah.
Okay, and the 6-string, and the Schecter.
That's in drop A sharp right now. I think drop A sharp's like my main tuning. I love it.
Nice. Nice.
You're really digging it. And then and then for like lead stuff, I have my another Ibanez Iron Label. It's the S series. It's like, I think I remember the serial number. It's like 6 FDFM or something like that, but I'm really liking the S label stuff. It's just so light. It's like 5 pounds. And not as like, it's definitely more of a delicate guitar, and it just fits the vibe of like a lead stuff with the passive pickups, and it's just more buttery. And the split coil is amazing for cleans. And then I think that's just like my main lead guitar. And then the Schecter is like definitely like rhythm. It's neck's a little bit thicker, and it's just chunkier with the EMGs and stuff. So yeah,
nice.
But yeah, just it. Those are the 3.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a passive pickup guy. Can't really get down with the active stuff. But should mention I write kind of different music in God in America than we do in Ionia. Although I think if I wrote stuff like that, I might stay with passive. I just like the way passive sounds personally. I've tried I think I had there's a guitar I had for a short bit. It was a ESP LTD Telecaster 7-string. And it had active pickups in it. And
is that the Stephen Carpenter one?
No, although I do covet that guitar. I do covet. I want it. I need it. But you can only buy them used now, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guitar is so beautiful. What I would do if I were to get that guitar, I would take out the EMGs, swap them out for some humbuckers. I don't know which ones, but
how could you?
And oh man, that guitar would be gold. And I love the all-in-one body. I'm a very big fan of that.
Yeah.
I don't really like the different wood on. I mean, there's really no telling if there's different wood on the body and the neck if it's all kind of blended together. But there's some that are clearly different woods. Different, like you could just tell they're the neck's bolted on and it's a different type of wood from the body. when they all kind of mesh together. I'm a bigger fan of that style body. Yeah, that's part of I love a lot of things about that Stephen Carpenter guitar. The one thing I would get rid of though is the active pickups. But
so you like a set neck or a through neck? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Sorry. I would have to look up the terms and see which one's which.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, I'm pretty sure a through neck. Hold on.
Yeah, they're kind of the same. Like a set neck is like they're still separate, but like they're bolted in, and then like stuff is put over it to make it look like a through neck. And then through necks are true through necks, but they still have different tone stuff.
Yeah. It's through neck. I'm definitely more of a fan of through neck. Yeah. I don't like the bolt-ons or the sets. Yeah, it's through neck. So both my guitars are through necks. The Telecaster is, and so is the Michael Kelly baritone. That's also a through neck. The newer guitar I'm looking at, oddly enough, is not, but I'm okay with it because it's a very unique and interesting guitar. And it's kind of nice to have, some diversity in your arsenal. So,
for sure.
So yeah, do you think that's a good place to wrap up?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the first episode of the Creative Process Podcast. Once again, I'm Gabriel Smith.
And I'm Kenny Flores. We'll see you guys in the next episode. And we're hoping to do these at least once a month. And as we get more comfortable, we'll release it with a higher frequency.
So don't be afraid to drop your questions on the social links that are in the show notes. And as always, stay creative, guys.
See ya.